What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. Now, the question is, who is really in charge? You know, we hear Eddie saying ultimately it's up to Anthony Joshua. It's his decision at the end of the day. Then Joshua does the all-exclusive interview yesterday with Sky Sports that he's going to step back and allow the team to decide for him in a lot of decisions so he can focus on fighting. Okay, now let's say the worst comes to worst. Okay, the worst comes to worst. They can't agree on a venue. They can't agree on anything. He left himself open yesterday by saying he'll beat Andy Ruiz, even if Andy Ruiz's uncle, I believe, was the referee. He would still beat him anywhere. He left himself open and said that. And yet, these guys can't find a way or a venue to fight. A neutral ground, right? And the fight doesn't get made. What do you think will actually happen at that point? Since Anthony Joshua can't just say, hey, I'll fight in America because he's stepping back. Basically, he is relinquishing his power, right? That he's supposed to have according to Eddie Hearn. They end up going to court to sue, and Andy Ruiz, he has a say-so since he's a champ, according to Anthony Joshua. So it's like, okay, who do you really think now will push the court? Who will push the sue? Push for legal action? Eddie Hearn. Like I told you guys, Eddie Hearn will not hesitate if he feels that Andy Ruiz is not trying to fight. And who knows, really, because Andy Ruiz could be being coached to deny anything other than America or Mexico. Because at first he said Madison Square Garden, then he said California, then he mentioned Mexico. So then, it's like, okay, you went from New York, now you want it in Mexico, but then you mentioned California, the Staples Center. And then you were like, oh, it doesn't matter where I fight. Well, we know that's not consistent. And since it's not consistent, I'm led to believe that he is being coached by someone else that's telling him to be that guy that doesn't want to agree, to disagree with everything, to be disruptive purposely. It seems like it's a tactic at the end of the day, because it's like, no, let's play hardball because we want to see what they do. If they push it legal action, then that might be the loophole that they were talking about. They probably want Eddie Hearn, since he now has the power, according to Anthony Joshua, right? He has the power now, regardless of what Eddie Hearn tells people, want people to believe. He has the power in this situation in the venues. Why do you think he was, at first, we knew he was the one that initially wanted it in the UK anyway, right? He wanted it in the UK and blamed it on Joshua's team, like his trainers and such, right? We knew it was him because he already heard Anthony Joshua, and he let the cat out of the bag that Joshua wanted it in Madison Square Garden. If that's what he wanted, he should have just, okay, let's get another venue at Madison Square Garden. Let's pick a date that's available. He should have done that, but he didn't. He didn't because he felt to himself that, hey, I need to have every advantage possible, which is nothing wrong with that for that reason. But if you're doing it because you have some type of power trip, that's wrong. because now you're jeopardizing the second rematch of the fight. You're jeopardizing his exercise clause. He exercised that rematch clause, okay? And since he done that, and Eddie Hearn wants to bicker or dispute where it's going to be, it could easily fall into legal trouble. Because again, we don't know if Team Ruiz doesn't plan on it going to legal action. Because if it does, then who's to say that what does that have to do with the sanctioning bodies? The sanctioning bodies would still want you to fight for those belts. So it'd still fight someone. But then here's the deal. What trumps mandatories? Unifications. Unifications trumps mandatories. So they can easily have that fight with Wilder, and then Wilder gets the belts, and then Wilder is one of those guys, he ain't doing shit. Look, Wilder is not Ruiz. Even though Ruiz is high-fiving and fist bumping with Deontay Wilder, Wilder is a totally different beast. If he goes in there and fights Ruiz, and Ruiz loses, and that looks like it'll be the case because, for a lot of reasons, and that's a whole different video. But if he gets that belt, okay, if Deontay Wilder gets those belts, plural, if he gets those belts, then he becomes undisputed. Then Deontay Wilder will then have what he wanted, and so will Al Heyman, and so will, other powers that be, and then the belts will be in America. Then we'll have a heavyweight champion over here. And then what does that mean for Anthony Joshua? They'll still be trying to sue Andy Ruiz for not taking the rematch clause. That's what could have happened, right? And I feel that Ruiz is being used, and that's a whole different video. And because for many, many reasons. But I feel that Eddie Hearn has the power now, and hopefully they can come to an agreement. So the only thing that could bust this wide open and foil this whole plan is if Ruiz cannot agree, or Anthony Joshua can't agree. But it's not even Joshua, it's Eddie Hearn can't agree on where it's going to be, right? And it sure the hell is not going to be in Mexico. Again, I don't care where it's at, but this is what we have. Anthony Joshua gives power of attorney to Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn is going to push it anywhere but here. Anywhere but here. You know what I'm saying? So, hell, why don't it be in Canada? Right? I guess that's too close to, the Americas, because it is in Americas, right? But, that just raises suspicion, and it looks bad. I'm going to tell you why. What's wrong with having it in the Americas versus what's wrong with Ruiz going to the UK? You see what I'm saying? It's like these people, you can see it easily going the way of legal action. And if it happens like that, I just explained to you what could happen. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Eddie Hearn having power over Team Joshua and the resistance of Andy Ruiz. Of course, please subscribe. Give me your comments below. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.